Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Tonight, let's talk about the home stretch. The New York Knicks business end of the season is here. All-Star buzz is done and dusted. And we're going to look at the road ahead tonight, look at the key numbers and the key stats to look at in these final 28 games to set the New York Knicks up. We'll preview the current playoff bracket as well. We'll talk about some favourable playoff matchups that we could see in this home stretch tonight. It's all about eye on the prize in this one. This is what we do this for, ladies and gentlemen. The business end of the season is coming right now. Mitchell Robinson's return impending. OG Anunoby set to come back. I'm excited, man. If you ain't buzzing, then I don't know why you're watching, man. But right now, the New York Knicks are in a great position, 36-18, eyeing the second seed, third seed. We're going to talk about it tonight with the chat. Welcome into the live stream. CT, your host. It's great to have you with us. Like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And we've got Susan in the building. Salute, Susan. Hope everyone's had a great break. I'm ready for New York Knicks basketball to come back. And I can't wait to talk about tonight, man. The business end of the season. Rest of February, March, April. Just 28 games remain. You're going to blink. And it's we're going to be in the playoffs, fam. And a lot of, things to look out for in these final 28 games, Obviously the schedule, we're going to look at it right now and break it down. Let's dive into it right now. The rest of February is going to be pretty tough, back to back to kick start. Welcome in, Johnny. Great to see you. Chicago, Cleveland, Thursday, Friday night, man. The players have had a nice break. Brunson and Cat did their thing in All-Star Weekend. Obviously, that was the best part of the All-Star Weekend. The rest of it, man. Outside of the dunk contest, I did enjoy Mac McClung's third consecutive victory. But Brunson had a great showing in the three-point contest. But obviously the game, we all know, the actual All-Star game wasn't a raging success. Obviously they got work to do. But we're here to talk about the Knicks season, right, moving forward. I predicted 55 wins to preview the season. And I think if the Knicks can go 19-9, they'll get to 55 wins, currently on 36. So let us know in the chat, guys, how do you see the New York Knicks finishing? 55 wins. I think 19-9 is very realistic. We'll go through it and we'll analyze the key lineups as well, as Mitchell Robinson is set to return very soon, man. How soon? We don't quite know yet. He has to be taking full contact in practice, but we see the man looking nice and slim, great conditioning. We're hearing a lot of word out of the Knicks beat that Mitch is, in great shape. He's obviously just got to get his rhythm back, get full practice in, and maybe a jump hook, as we see. He's been working. Now, I'm going to say right now on Mitchell Robinson's return, I don't think he's going to start, and that's what I think is going to happen and what I would do as well. I wouldn't start Mitch, and we're going to talk about why as I bring up the first key number to look out for, ladies and gentlemen, in tonight's preview, as I bring this up, and been one of the keys to our success this season, right? The two sides of the Knicks season so far. Welcome in, Michael Drake. Great to see you, fam. The two sides of the Knicks season so far. The first one, the New York Knicks have a 20 wins, 2 loss record when recording 30 plus assists this season. Down below, you see the New York Knicks have a 16-16 record when recording below 30 assists this season as well. So that speaks for itself, fam. We've been talking about it. Sharing is caring, right? People talk about Brunson moving the basketball, Cat's floor spacing and the catch and shoot game, raising this team ceiling. Shout out to those two. Shout out to Cat for having a career year as well. But that's the two sides of the Knicks season so far, man. That encapsulates this season for me so far. Right. Our offense is dynamic. Yeah, there's a lot of focus on defense. We're going to talk about that tonight with Mitchell Robinson's return. Right. But these numbers are glaring and they cannot be ignored right now. The New York Knicks are basically almost 100% win record at 20-2, which is a fairly large sample, in my opinion. Well, a big enough sample. 30 plus assists this season, almost 100% win record, and a 500 ball club when they don't record 30 assists right now. I mean, what do you guys think about that? And what I said earlier, that ties into why I wouldn't start Mitch, right? Obviously, Mitch is great in the lob threat. You know, he can get some easy buckets, but we're not a heavy pick and roll team. And you know, as I've said before, I do think that they do ignore Mitch sometimes in the pick and roll, even Huck Porty. You know, the Knicks need to do a better job at honoring the roll man and the lob threat when the big is out there on the floor. But obviously, Cat's on the perimeter when he's out there. The catch and shoot game is deadly, fam. So basically, you know, a lock to win when we're getting 30 plus assists. And I think the lineup of having Karl Anthony Towns there at the 5 is just too good to ignore to start. Now, if we do face Cleveland, we do face some bigger lineups, like Josh Hart did say on the roommates pod. Obviously, that's a look where you want to get Mitch out there a lot more minutes, fam. But obviously, for the health reasons as well, I would bring Mitchie off the bench just to start and see what else is happening, fam. And see how it all looks. You know, he's obviously got to work his way back and all of that. And look, if it looks fantastic, then there's certain lineups where you could start Mitch. But to come out of the gate, you know, I'm leaving things as is with the starting 5 right now. And you know, these numbers are insane. You know, moving the rock, we are extremely dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. The current East playoff bracket, right? We're going to break that down in the second half of tonight's show, but this will give you a quick preview of where things sit. If the playoffs started right now, the New York Knicks would be locked in to face the Detroit Pistons in the 3-6 seed right now. That'd be a crazy playoff series as well. The New York Knicks are 1-2 versus the Pistons with one more game to play against the Pistons in the regular season. I'll be looking forward to breaking that down as well. But some other key numbers to look at for this season and the home stretch. The Knicks are 15-3 when coming directly after a loss. So, you know, I've been saying it all season, guys, we're bounce back bullies, you know. That is going to be key, obviously, in a playoff series, you know. You lose a game, you need to be able to bounce back. And I think it's about focus. It's about pride. It's about, you know, adjustments, all of those things. So credit to this ball club for being consistent after a loss, bouncing back 15-3. And obviously just here below, you see the New York Knicks have a record of 52-20 with OG Anunoby in the lineup all time. So, you know, we know the New York Knicks are heavily reliant on OG Anunoby for defensive purposes. A lot of this record is reflective of last season as well. Obviously, that crazy run the Knicks went on when they traded for OG. But that is something to not gloss over, and we can't ignore that. You know, OG's, you know, such a key part of this team, and, you know, we've been missing him a lot, obviously for defensive purposes. Something we're going to look at in the road home. In the second part of the show, we're going to look at each matchup in the schedule remaining. But the New York Knicks, 18 games over with 28 games to play, and a 19-9 would get us to 55 wins, fam. But I really want to highlight this, and I've been preaching it, man, from the hilltops, from the rooftops right now. And a lot of people talk about assists, Brunson, Cat, defensive numbers, offensive metrics, all of those things, fam. In my opinion, guys, this is top 3 in things that'll determine the Knicks outcome, a positive outcome, right? There's not many higher metrics. If we break this down, fam, the tale of Brunson and the three. First up, Brunson has a record of 28, 38, and 36 with the Knicks when making at most 1 3 in his career. So we are basically a 500 ball club with Jalen Brunson making 1 or less threes. Next up, Brunson is 12 and 10 with the Knicks when making at most 1 3 this season. So the first one's his entire Knicks career, and that also shows this season the Knicks are 12 and 10 when when Brunson only makes one or less threes, right? Basically a 500 ball club. We move to the third one. Brunson has a 28 and 13 record with the New York Knicks when he hits 1 or more threes this season. So that's a significant uptick when Brunson's hitting more than 1 3 this season compared to being a 500 ball club. Last but not least, Brunson has a record of 21 and 5 with the New York Knicks when he hits 3 or more threes this season, right? You guys see the correlation, fam? I mean, we're basically a 500 ball club when Brunson only makes 1 or less threes. Right, that is key. I cannot stress how much, man. A lot of people talk about the offense, assist numbers, defense, Mitch, lineups, all of those things. If Brunson isn't getting off the three, right, we are extremely vulnerable because we've seen it against Houston, Dallas, Oklahoma, those lockdown perimeter defensive teams that can stymie Brunson from getting off the three. And it's tough to generate good offense with this ball club if Brunson doesn't get that floor spacing, right? So, I mean, these numbers are so glaring, right? We're basically a 500 ball club if Brunson ain't getting the three ball off. So, so significant. But obviously, the rest of his game is sensational. JB's on pace to become the first player to average 25 points and 7+ assists with 2.5 or less turnovers per game since turnovers were first officially tracked in 1977-78, fam, just after the championship years. So, well-rounded game. Obviously, as I mentioned before, fam, with the assists, it's been so key in the New York Knicks' success, having 30+ assists this season. Tendrell says, can't wait for the season to resume. All-Star break was underwhelming. Yeah, amen, brother. You said it. Michael Drake says 55 wins. CT, yes. So, a salute to you, Michael. I agree. I think it's realistic. Let's talk about it in a second. Johnny says with a completely healthy team, plus Mitch, watch out, Lob City. Mitch, Rob, I want to see what he looks like. But obviously, if he's 75% of what he used to be, blessings are coming, fam. Because, defensively is our biggest weakness. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, if we are moving the ball offensively, we're dynamic. But, and we're shooting the three. But defensively, Mitch, I mean, he's so much better than Huckporty, Cat, any other option that we have defensively, guys. And if he can give us 15 to 20 minutes, that's going to be excellent. I really can't state that enough. But look, he's slimmed down, and I think that's a big key, guys, because he's going to be able to look fresh in those 15 to 20 minutes that he plays. He's not going to be huffing and puffing. Obviously, once he gets his match conditioning in, I think he'll be a huge factor for this ball club. Right, him and OG Anunoby will be basically the biggest trade deadline acquisitions, fam, outside of Luka. Michael, we can't understate Precious Achiuwa's impact as well. Precious has been really stepping up, but obviously he'll go back to his preferred position off the bench, playing what I feel should be the 4 position. And our rebounding is going to go up. you know, the lob threats as well. We're going to have two guys to set big screens as well. That's going to free up the likes of Deuce McBride, Campaign, Landry Shamet, and the other guys, maybe TJ Warren as well. As we dive into the preview and we look ahead to the remaining games, fam. But just while I mentioned TJ Warren, the last Westchester Knicks game, look at these numbers, fam. 37 minutes, 11 of 23 from the field, 7 of 15 from downtown, 29 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds for TJ Warren, fam, last week. Westchester don't play until Thursday night, the same time that the New York Knicks return against Chicago. So Westchester's had a nice break as well, but can we get a thumbs up if TJ Warren should be that guy to be the 15th guy? There could be some more buyout guys. To be honest, I don't think there's anyone out there that could have a big enough impact on the buyout market outside of, Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker, I don't know if he's going to make his way over, but, he's currently been in Europe. He's a established veteran. But I mean, outside of that, man, Torrey Craig got snapped up. Chuma Okeke got snapped up as well by Philly. Torrey Craig's already in Boston's rotation, which is insane. We missed out on that one. But TJ Warren's the next best guy, fam. I think. What's up, Chop Low? Great to see you, Knicks fam. 29 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. But 7 of 15 from downtown is the key stat for me, guys, because, once a 3-point shooter, still a 3-point shooter. TJ Warren is a sniper that we need. If you come on, let's be real. This 15th guy, if he does come on, if he sees any minutes, it's going to be very low. It's going to be reduced minutes. So what am I looking for in a guy that's going to be playing limited minutes? Is just be a microwave, fam. Come in, instant impact off the bench, hit a couple of threes, keep the scoreboard ticking up, get Mikal Bridges and Brunson back in the ball game, right? I'm not really looking for lockdown defense when those guys are off the court. Just keep the scoreboard ticking up. I think our best avenue is a guy to come in and light it up, fam. 7 of 15 from distance. TJ Warren is that guy that can light you up still. 32 years old. And the knock has been that he hasn't been able to stay healthy, but he's been healthy all season, knock on wood, with the Westchester Knicks. So, yeah, he's worked his way back. Now, we look at the playoff bracket, but before we do that, as I mentioned before, fam, 19-9 is the key number to get to 55 wins. And I think that could definitely get us the 3rd seed, secured. And would be a chance to get us the 2nd seed. However, I think that's going to be a little difficult, right? Because we look at where the current standings look. Boston's already on 39 wins, fam. We are just 2.5 games back of Boston, and we do have to play them 2 more times, fam. One more game in Beantown, and 1 more game at MSG. But with Boston already on 39 wins, I don't think 55 wins is going to get us to that 2nd seed, right? Because Boston would only have to win 14 more games. Right, Boston would only have to win 14 more games. 16 more games to get to 55 wins, fam. We would have to win 19, but Boston would only have to win 16 more out of the final 20, outside of the final 27 that they've got, or 29 that they've got. And so, 2nd seed is going to be tough. And with that said, if I pull up the playoff bracket right now, take a look at this, guys. there's been a lot of myths. Second seed, you avoid, try and avoid Boston in the second round. That ain't gonna happen unless Boston can finish in the number 1 seed. The only way that the Knicks can avoid Boston in the second round is if they can get the first seed off of Cleveland. But if they don't, whether the Knicks finish second or third, we would still be clashing with Boston in the second round, unfortunately, right? So that's why I ain't really sweating the second or the third seed so much, really. Because more than likely, if we do get the second seed, Boston's going to move down to third. I don't think Boston's going to get that first seed. Once again, if we take a look at the gap. Cleveland have a 5.5 game gap cushion on the Boston Seas. So yeah, it would take an epic collapse for Cleveland. But obviously I am rooting for that. The Ras in the house. Salute, guys. Smash that like button. Appreciate you, Chop Low. Yeah, the Cavs 5.5 games up on the Boston Celtics. So I think we are as close to understanding what the playoff picture looks like. There's still 28 games to play, but let's take a look. Pacers Bucks 4-5. That's going to be great. 3-6 Knicks Pistons, fam. Throwback. Detroit Pistons playing more of a physical style, up and coming. I mentioned they're 2 wins over us so far. We have 1 more to play. And Boston will be locked in currently to the 7th seed, the play-in winner. Could be Philly, could be Miami, could be Chicago, could be ATL. But I think the 4-5 seed's pretty much secure. Cleveland, we know they're going to finish most likely number 1. But the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons, with the winner to most likely face the winner out of the Boston Celtics and the 7 seed right now. So, as I said, guys, gear up, buckle up, fam, because second seed, third seed, it really don't matter, right? You're going to face, obviously, your first round, if you're the second seed, might be a little easier, but who knows? It could be, like I said, it could be ATL, it could be Miami, it could be Philly. I take my chances with Detroit. One of those wins, we know the Knicks were coming off a back-to-back. We just didn't have it that night, fam. We just didn't have it. Chop Low, how many wins did we finish the regular season last season, fam? We finished 50. So I'm looking for 5 more wins on that. But I do think it's still going to get us the 2nd or 3rd seed. Buzzer beater in the house. Got us buzzing. We've got the 8th hardest remaining schedule in the league. Yeah, we're about to look at game by game now, fam. But I think 19 wins, 9 losses, 55 wins is realistic. More than likely get us the 3rd seed secured. Like I said, 2nd seed is going to be difficult because Boston would only have to win 16 more games, and I think that's going to be a cakewalk for them. Johnny says, "How is TJ Warren's D, CT?" It ain't as bad as you'd think. I'm not going to say he's a defensive-oriented guy. But if we take a look at the last G League game, fam, look at his plus-minus. He was a +1. And this was a game that the Westchester Knicks lost as well. If you look at all his teammates, Moses Brown, defensive player, was -10 in 30 minutes. Boo Buie was -6. Donovan Williams, -4. And TJ Warren in 37 minutes was a +1. So the Westchester squad was better with him on the floor, fam. So if he can hold his own, but as I said before, he's going to play very limited minutes with this ball club if he gets called up. And so I'm just looking for him to come on, light it up, hit some threes, kind of like the Bogdanovic role. And I kind of think that he's got to be better than Bojan, than last season's Bogdanovic, fam. Chop says, we need bench assistance if we play any of those teams in the playoff, first round especially. Yeah, that Pistons matchup is going to be tougher than some people think, you know? And that's the reason why I'm hoping for the second seed, because I'd rather Philly, Miami, Chicago, or ATL over Detroit. I think Detroit's definitely gaining confidence, like you said, but we need our bench to step it up. But with Mitch coming off the bench, Precious back to the bench, with OG returning, I think, man, it's going to be a tough first round matchup for Detroit as well if they do make the playoffs for the first time in a minute. Tendrell says, I'd like to see ATL and Boston in the first round, or Sixers Boston. Yeah, those would be some nice matchups for real. Definitely. Yeah, look, shout out to the Cavaliers, 5.5 game cushion on the Celtics now. I think they're all but guaranteed top seed. If we keep it a buck, I think they'll have to collapse. And look, I think Boston's kind of going to take their foot off the gas a little bit. They do let their hair down a little bit, Boston, in terms of taking it easy. But I think they will coast into the second seed. New York Knicks will slot in at the 3 seed and face Detroit. So let's take a look now at the remaining 2.5 months. 28 games remain, fam. 19-9 is the key number now. Let's go through it as well. We'll recap the stats that I spoke on earlier in tonight's stream, but shout out to the chat. I see you guys. Let us know any thoughts, questions, and continue buzzing, and I'll shout it out. Mitchell Robinson getting ready to return. Obviously, let's take a look at the rest of February. So we've got Chicago Thursday, Cleveland Friday, Cleveland on the road, and then Boston on the road for the second to last and third matchup against Boston this season. And then Philly at home, and then Memphis on the road. That completes the season series against Memphis. And I think that should complete the season series against Philly. Right? So I'm going to say Chicago is a dub. I said this before the All-Star break, but I think Cleveland is a dub. I think the New York Knicks are done with, letdown games against, big opponents. And I do think we come out after the All-Star break with back-to-back wins. So I'm predicting win-win. Boston on the road. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than the first two Boston games, which isn't saying much. But I do think that it's going to be tough. Most likely Boston pick up that win, fam. They're going to be well aware that the New York Knicks are going to come in with a lot more focus, but obviously playing at the TD Garden, I think Boston will prevail in that one, but it'll be a lot closer. And the New York Knicks will gain confidence by playing Boston a lot closer in that one. Then we come back home against Philly. That's a dub. And then Memphis on the road. I'm going to say that is a dub as well. So great start after the All-Star break. I'm predicting the Knicks go 4-1 for the rest of the month. What do you guys say about that? Yeah, Cleveland's basically got the first seed locked up. Fam. Buzzer says, how are Josh Hart's knees? I got to say that he was definitely benefiting from this break, man. He was chilling in Miami with his feet up, with his wife and kids. He's been chilling, so I think he should come out looking fresh. But yeah, 28 games remain, Buzzer. Not much, We're going to blink and the playoffs are going to be here, and I don't think the Knicks really need to go all out in these final 28 games, right? I'm not going to lie. Third seed, second seed, the Knicks have basically got enough cushion on Indiana. Let's take a look. Again, So the Knicks have the season series against the Pacemakers, and the New York Knicks have a 5.5 game cushion of the Pacers, who you think are going to drop some games as well. Tyrese is inconsistent. He's having an inconsistent year. Miles Turner has been banged up. I don't know if Miles Turner is set to return for Indiana. If he misses another week or so, the Pacers, I think there's enough separation. So I think, Tibbs manage the lineups, keep these guys more fresh for the postseason. I think 15 to 19 more wins will be enough to guarantee that third spot. Rye Bread salutes, says, glad our guys got out of that joke of an all-star game early. Yeah. It's kind of like, man, it's just an exhibition, a celebration event. Brunson played 8 minutes. Really, more of an acknowledgement of their season so far. But yeah, hardly got to play any, which I'm cool with. Those guys got out early, got on vacation. We should see these guys fresh for the home stretch. So we flick back over to the bracket. Now let us know your thoughts, fam. Favorable matchups. Would you prefer the Pistons to slip out of 6 and maybe someone else get that 7th spot? But yeah, I think if I'm putting a percentage on it, I mean, it's still fluid, but I've got to say it's probably at least 60 to 70% most likely that the New York Knicks will be in the 3rd spot and will be facing Detroit. Right? Things are fluid, we know, but obviously, man, the Magic are like 2.5 games back of Detroit. I guess you never know. I would prefer the Pistons over the Magic, definitely. If the Magic can get on a run, but they've been slipping. Paolo back, haven't got the same energy, cohesion, and obviously Franz Wagner as well. I would be cool if Magic finished 7th. I'll tell you why. The Magic could be a giant killer. Out of the Magic, Hawks, Heat, Bulls, Sixers, the Magic have the best chance at knocking off Boston, fam. And I guess if Detroit did slip to 7, they would play the Celtics tough. They almost beat the Celtics this season. In fact, I think they have beaten the Celtics once, if I stand corrected. So the Pistons and the Magic could give the Celtics a tough first-round matchup, fam. But if I'm the New York Knicks and I finish in 3rd, I definitely want the Pistons over the Magic. Let us know. Omar says we ain't ducking no smoke. I like that. I agree. I'm just saying, you obviously got to look at what's most favorable as well, fam. But we continue to look at the road ahead. 4-1, I said, for the rest of Feb. Wins against Chicago, Cleveland, a loss in Boston, and then we beat Philly and we beat Memphis. So that's 4 wins right there. Let's tick over to March right now. As says, the 8th toughest schedule remaining. Let's take a look. We've got March, Miami, Golden State. Miami on the road, Golden State at home. And then the final West Coast trip, a 5-game West Coast trip in LA. Lakers, Clippers back-to-back. Sacktown, Portland, and the Golden State Warriors. So out of this little stretch here, I'm going to say Miami is a win. Golden State at home is a win. LA Clippers, I'm going to say we split. I'll say we beat the Lakers, man. What the hell? Because LeBron, Luka, to hell with them. They showed us up at MSG. Now it's time to get revenge. So 3-game streak, Miami, Golden State, Lakers, we win. Clippers, we lose. Back-to-back. Sacktown, we win. Portland, we win. And Golden State Warriors, I'll say we're fatigued. and we dropped that one. So that is basically, that's four and how many games that? That's 7 games. So that is 5-2. 5-2 to start that stretch in March, which is excellent. And then back home at Miami, Spurs, Charlotte, Washington, Dallas at home, Clippers at home, Milwaukee away, Portland at home. So this is a lot more favorable. I'm going to say Miami's a win. Spurs on the road is a loss. Charlotte's a win. Washington's a win. Dallas is a win. I'll say Clippers is a loss because, again, it's a back-to-back, second of a back-to-back. Then I'll say Milwaukee is a win. Portland is a win. So that is just 2 losses in that stretch as well. Right, that's 8 games. So I'm going to say that is 6-2. So combined with that, so that is basically the Knicks finished 10-4 in that month. So that is what, 14 games. Let me just double check that again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, no, there's 15 games. So I miscalculated. So the Spurs loss, Clippers. Yep, so that is 11-4 in the month of March. So basically that's our 15 games already. 4 games, 4 wins in the rest of February, and 11 wins from March. Combined is 15 wins. So we only need 4 more wins in April to get us to 19. 4 more wins in April will get us to 19-9. Let's take a look. Philly, Cleveland, ATL, Phoenix, Boston, Detroit, back-to-back with Cleveland, and then finish the season out at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Fam, what a way to finish the season as they're tanking. So Philly at home is a win. I'll say Cleveland, second of a back-to-back on the road, is a loss. ATL on the road is a win. Phoenix at home is a win. Boston at home is a win, ladies and gentlemen. We get our first win against Boston for the season. The 4th and final game against Boston is a win at MSG. Playoff vibes are ramping up, and I do think Boston will, strategically, Boston will, adjust their lineup for that one. Seeding will be all but set, and I do think there'll be some gamesmanship in that one. And then we finish out Detroit with a win. We get our first win of the season against Cleveland as well, because they've got the first seed wrapped up and they're chilling. And then we get the Brooklyn win as well. Right. So what is that? I'm gonna say we lose. Yeah, we lose the first Cleveland game of April, and then we win out. We win out, fam. So that is 8 games. 8 games in April. We only dropped 1 game in April, right? So that's 7 more wins. That gets us, ladies and gentlemen, to 58. 58 wins on the season. What do you guys say about that? That would be the hottest finish going back since the early 90s. Right. Give or take, I think 56, 58, if we drop a few here and there. But yeah, there's definitely some tough games here. Portland's playing pretty tough. Buzzer says, CT, a lot depends on when Mitch comes back and who we pick up in the buyout market. That's a great point. Tough. Some of these games are real tough. But I just think, with 28 games remaining, with this nice all-star break, fresh legs coming back with OG, Mitch, maybe the 15th guy adds, some extra juice in the locker room at the start of March as well. There's going to be some confidence. And a lot of teams, don't forget, are going to start to tank, fam. A lot of these teams are going to start to tank. You know, your Portlands, your Brooklyns, Charlotte's already tanking. The Spurs might be out of contention by then. They might be sitting Wemby. Sacramento as well. Washington, we already know, fam. And that final month of April, look at that last week. Right, Boston could already have their seeding tied up. Detroit as well. Cleveland in the second to last game should be resting some players in that one. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I think the New York Knicks finish between 56 and 58 wins right now and get that third seed. As I flick back over, what's going to be key once again? The New York Knicks getting 30 plus assists, ball movement, fam, sharing is caring, getting guys in rhythm. Because if guys like your OG, your Bridges are engaged offensively, they're more than likely to buckle down and play, more engaged defense. As a team, the New York Knicks are thriving with 30 plus assists, 20-2 on the season, which is basically, it's a 95% win percentage plus, which is staggering. And when the New York Knicks don't have 30 assists, we're 16-16, a 500 ball club this season, right? There's no stat that's more polarizing, right? Everyone's going to show rim protection numbers, on and off lineups, all of these different things. What's Tibbs going to do? It just comes down to the players, man, when they're on the court, taking care of business, right? Nobody can control what these players do outside of them, in regards to getting 30 plus assists, right? Just move the basketball, keep it moving, and get everybody engaged, fam. And that's from top to bottom, bench lineups with Campaign. We see nights where Campaign gets 6 or 8 assists in limited minutes. And that's usually when the New York Knicks are thriving, and blowing guys out. And then obviously we know with the starting lineup, guys, when JB is tunnel vision, we're usually trying to scratch and claw a win out like we were against ATL. But when everyone's involved, OG's out there corner spacing, Hart's cutting to the rack, Bridges is flashing to the baseline for the mid-range, Cat's out there on the perimeter. I think the New York Knicks are dangerous, super dangerous, 95% win percentage. Michael Drake says CT 50 wins, you sure the third seed? Yep. Buzzer asks, can we cut Shamet and Matt Ryan and pick up TJ and Bojan? I keep hearing we are trying to get Bojan, but Bojan Bogdanovic makes 19 milli per year. So, yeah, great question, Buzzer. And I know this is on the periphery of Knicks Nation. Basically, the New York Knicks can't and won't cut anyone for financial reasons. The New York Knicks are pressed up against the second apron. We're only $500,000 from exceeding the second apron, and that has been the mission all season, that the New York Knicks don't exceed the second apron. If they were to cut somebody and have to sign someone else, the person that they cut, their salary would still count against the cap. And so we don't have enough money to be paying off a guy, basically, and signing another guy. So in terms of DeLon Wright, Shamet, Matt Ryan, yeah, they're all going to stick, basically. Although I think there's a chance Matt Ryan, because he's on a two-way, there's a chance he could get cut, because I'm not sure if the two-way salary counts. But 100% Shamet, unless he's injured, won't get cut. And if we do pick up TJ, then yeah, that'll fit under the second apron. Bojan Bogdanovic is a no, because he makes 19 million, and the New York Knicks can't add anybody off the buyout market that exceeds 12.8. So yeah, anyone making more than 12.8 in their previous salary won't be able to to get added. Sorry. So yeah, I would love to see Bogey back with this squad, but it's a no from the New York Knicks, and most likely it'll be TJ. Yeah, I agree. The 6th seed looking like it'll be Detroit. What are my feelings towards Stephen A. Smith's comments? Stephen A. Smith, there's two sides to Stephen A. Smith, let me say. He puts on a persona, when the cameras are on for ESPN. It's all about that. Off the camera, Stephen A. Smith is obviously a diehard Knicks fan, but yeah, he does play up. He does act up to the cameras, and he is obviously somewhat of a casual fan. He doesn't follow the ins and outs. He doesn't know the 15th man on the roster, so you could definitely question his, fandom in terms of, is he a diehard? But in terms of what he's saying about the New York Knicks' chances, I mean, obviously the New York Knicks are a top 4 seed, top 4 seed in the NBA, by the way. So the New York Knicks coming in, we'll take a look at this efficiency landscape as well, guys. And yeah, the New York Knicks are tied with Memphis for the 4th seed in the NBA, which makes you a contender. I don't care what anyone says, right? You can't be 4th in the NBA and not be a contender. Yes, we've crapped the bed against your likes of Boston, your Oklahomas, but mitigating circumstances play a factor. We haven't got Mitch. OG missed the Boston second matchup. But obviously, if you look at everyone else, the New York Knicks are a chance to get to the finals, get to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals. And that makes you a legitimate contender, in my opinion. These catch and shoot numbers, fam. Top 10 in the NBA, catch and shoot. Coming in at number 2 is none other than Karl Anthony Towns. So yeah, he's on a mission and completing the top 2 for top 10 catch and shoot right now. Top 5 MVP ladder of the NBA, Karl Anthony Towns coming in at number 5, right? So yeah, Mitchell Robinson's return, that is key. And as I said, guys, at the top of the show, one of the reasons why I would keep Mitch coming off the bench, right? Unless it's a specific playoff matchup. Because when the New York Knicks are getting 30 plus assists, man, it's a wrap. Close to a 95% win percentage. When the New York Knicks can get 30 plus assists, and I need more shot makers, I understand how important Mitch's defense and rim protection can be, but we're not the best pick and roll team right now. And if we are playing with Mitch in the starting lineup, one, you have to factor in his health and durability issues, right? The less wear and tear, the better. But obviously you want to keep him healthy and you want to keep him fresh, but you want to keep these assists ticking up. So for me, I need more spacing. I need more, offensive lineups, right? But obviously, the role I envision for Mitchell Robinson is a 15 to 20 minute per night guy. Maybe you reduce Precious Achua's minutes. Mitchell Robinson, when fully up to speed and healthy, takes on more of those minutes, fam, and we do increase our size off the bench. And most importantly, Cat playing some of the 4 lineup, some of the 4 spot. Because Cat next to Mitch, 4-5, that size, rebounding, rim protection, all of the things that we've been crying out for in one lineup. And that is key, fam. That is pivotal, right? Let's wrap up these pivotal stats, right? Everyone's going to chop up lineups, defensive rating and all of those things. These are the stats you need to look out for the remaining part of the season, guys. The Knicks are 15-3 coming off of a loss. So bounce back is key, especially in a playoff series. We chopped up how many games left. The Knicks need to go 19-9 to get to 55 wins, right? I predicted at least 58, 56 to 58. The New York Knicks record when OG Anunoby's in the lineup, 52-20. Coming back into the lineup soon. The Beast is going to return. And the tale of the Brunson and the three. The New York Knicks are 38-36 in Brunson's Knick career when he makes one or less threes. The New York Knicks are 12-10 this season when Brunson makes only one or less threes. The New York Knicks are 28-13 with the Knicks when Brunson hits one or more threes. And the New York Knicks are 21-5 with the Knicks this season when Brunson hits three or more threes this season, right? If Brunson ain't hitting the threes, right, it's the closest thing to a wrap that you're going to get, fam. Especially with playoff defense. They're going to double team him. They're going to blitz him. They're going to crowd the paint as well. They're going to shut off driving lanes, just like Oklahoma City did well, just like Boston did extremely well. Spacing is the key, and Brunson has to hit the three, right? We're no better than a 500 ball club if Brunson ain't hitting more than 1 3 as well. So the smart coaches around the league, the Joe Mazzulas and the other guys that have had success, Emi Udokas, and the guy out in Oklahoma, what did they do? They absolutely, they they covered JB on the perimeter and collapsed on him. Right. Other guys have to make shots as well. We are very reliant on JB and the three. So yeah, let's talk about it, guys. Salute to Sharp Hours, Knicks Real Talk in the house. Yeah, Tendrell, the catch and shoot three list is a lot of bigs. Most def. Buzzer, yeah, we spoke about All-Star Weekend a little bit. I like the dunk contest. Your guy, Mac McClung, congrats to him. I saw a crazy stat. He made $300,000 from winning the dunk contest, and he's only made $120,000 throughout his playing career. So he doubled his playing career salary with the dunk contest salary as well. So, and the 3-point contest, yeah, JB did solid, scored 18 in the first round. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, but JB looked solid. He started well, but the final rack just wasn't able to get him into the final round. But the All-Star game itself is a complete debacle. Brunson played 8 minutes. I mentioned it's more of a celebration, exhibition. I mean, the guys still don't take it seriously. And I think the biggest thing that, was a letdown, one of the letdowns that I saw that was a warning sign was like 2 days earlier. You had a key figure like Jaylen Brown tweet out like that, when asked by a reporter, he said, I don't even know what's going on. He didn't even know the format. As soon as one of your major players says, I don't even know what the hell's going on, then that's hardly what the NBA would be hoping for in terms of promotion and getting more eyeballs on it. But big time letdown from the but I wasn't really focused on it because I just know that these guys, need to get their dues, accolades and just get out of there, Also, we heard news, as Buzzer says, congrats to Kat. He's now the vice president of the NBA Players Association, voted in alongside Gabe Vincent as well. So Kat, together with Gabe Vincent, voted in as vice presidents of the Players Association. So his voice and his standing around the league is definitely getting up there, fam. Uh, so with that said, we'll take some more questions. We'll wrap up in about 5 or 10. I'm excited for Thursday. Let's get it popping. The New York Knicks offense is churning when we get 30 plus assists. We had Mitchie post some footage come out with Mitchie and the little hook shot. I'm taking this with a pinch of salt, guys, because we've seen this before, and I think I'll take Mitch coming back healthy, playing good rim protection defense, moving his feet laterally. I'll take that over any hook, offensive game right now. We just need the bread and butter from Mitchie, down low, being a force, intimidator, rim presence next to Cat. But yeah, his ability to shuffle his feet could be really underrated because he looks nice and slim right now, fam. Words come out that he's weighing less than most of his playing career weight, going back to his rookie year weight. So that is a credit to Mitch's dedication, his rehabilitation, and he looks ready, right? When that is, we don't know. Take it slow. We don't need to rush him back, right? I've heard some people say, let's just bring him back for the playoffs. I think you definitely got to bring him back at least 10 to 15 games earlier. Try to get some rhythm, see how he pulls up as well. Because it's one thing getting back, but you don't really know what you're capable of doing yet until you play, and then you see how you pull up, after a game, right? So we've got 28 to play. For me, let's take a look at the schedule. When should Mitchell Robinson return? Let's take a look at this schedule, fam. Let's try to look at a nice break. So we come back to back Chicago, Cleveland, Boston on the road, at home against Philly on the 26th of February, fam. 3 games back. Is he going to be ready by then? It's probably doubtful. He has to practice, but things can happen really quick. I think that would be the earliest I would bring Mitchie back. You got 2 days rest between Boston and Philly. Philly's a home game. Embiid's going to be out most likely, so you're going to get a chance to, I don't know who you're going to be playing up against, who they're playing, Yabusele, whoever else they've got out there. Memphis on the road, I definitely wouldn't bring him back for that one. You got Jaren Jackson. That's going to be a tough matchup. Zach Edey as well. And then March, you've got the early games, Miami, Golden State, and then you've got the huge West Coast swing. You got the huge West Coast swing. There's a 2-day break before Golden State, but then there's Draymond Green, and I'm not risking bringing Mitch back against Draymond. So, I'm looking at maybe Dallas at home, or Washington. What do you guys think? Look at Saturday, 22nd of March against Washington. Then you've got 2 days rest to see how he pulls up. And then you've got 2 home games, Dallas and the Clippers, right? Dallas are in some trouble right now. AD is out. Derek Lively's out. You got Daniel Gafford as well. Like Daras says, mid-March. I like that. Even if he comes back late March, that still gives him, 10 to 15 games. Like I said, Washington. So Washington, that would be 5. Yeah, that would be about 15 games. If he comes back against Washington, fam. Get that West Coast swing out of the way, ramp up his conditioning and practicing. And look, it might be later than anticipated. Some people might not like that. But look, obviously, it's going to be a factor of trying to keep him healthy. But yeah, obviously the earliest we're going to see him is against Philly, I feel, on February 26th. But that might be a little too early. We'll see. Tendrell says Mitch coming back against Philly would be a huge psychological dub. Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely, Embiid's out. He could dominate that matchup. He's bigger than Yabusele. You could bring him off the bench as well. Shout out to Melo as well. Um, Definitely been nominated for the Hall of Fame and been announced as a color commentator for NBC as well. As you guys know, I see Melo quite a bit. He's coming down under. He's the ambassador for the Next Stars program in the NBL in Australia as well, and soon to be a new ownership, part of the ownership group of a future NBL franchise as well. And he's doing work as a FIBA ambassador as well. So, I mean, Carmelo Anthony's got his hands full right now, fam. And yeah, he does have his polarizing, um, fans out here situation with his Knicks career and, did he win a chip and all of those things. But yeah, he's definitely been making moves as Melo. Susan shout out says Crybaby Embiid will not play the game with Mr. Return. He's scared in that one. Psychological dub, like Tendrell says. Uh, yeah, it's all about keeping Mitch fresh, but identifying the role that you need, right? I'm not throwing him out there to be the starter because I think offensively, our identity is set, right? 30 plus assists, we're a 95 plus win percentage. For those that missed it, I shouted out JB as well, on pace to become the first player to average 25 plus, 7 plus assists, and 2.5 or less turnovers since turnovers were officially tracked, dating back since 77, 78. Fam. I've seen some people say Jalen Brunson isn't a generational player, right? It's kind of debatable right now, but if you're projecting what's to happen by the time JB hangs them up, he's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer in my opinion. There's no question in my mind. With 6 to 8 more years of Brunson's prime, whether he wins a championship or not, obviously we hope he wins plenty, but he will be a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it, right? If you are a Hall of Famer, you're a generational player, right? Because, for me, a generation is 20 to 30 years, and he's doing things that he's breaking records, He's breaking records, fam, left and right. Deuce McBride, going to play a huge part for the rest of this season, right? His J is starting to return. I like the combination of him next to Payne. Shamit is going to be a guy that I think, is starting to earn the trust of Tibbs. And we'll see how that plays out because, yeah, if Shamit can give you 6 to 8 minutes, come in, hit a couple shots, play some defense, that could be important. That could be important for this ball club. For those that are just joining us, Dirty Dancers in the house, salute. I previewed the rest of the schedule with 28 games remaining. I say that the New York Knicks will win at least 22 and finish with 56 to 58 wins. I think there'll be a lot of teams blowing it up late, especially with the final few games. Teams will be playing some gamesmanship as well. Westchester don't play again until Thursday, but the last game TJ Warren had, he put up 29, 8 and 5, 7 of 15 from distance, incredible. 37 minutes and finished a +1 in the plus minus, right? Was one of the only key players in the plus minus as well. So I think it's all but a lock that the Knicks will bring up TJ Warren. The Knicks do leave a lot of clues out there. They drafted Landry Shamet with the G League draft and they ended up re-signing him. Tibbs, goes on record to speak highly of certain guys and they usually follow up with rewarding these guys. And I think, yeah, TJ Warren's been in Westchester. I think there's a lot of things you could correlate. He's got chemistry with Jake Toppin. He's got chemistry with Tyler Kolek. Pacome Dardier is currently out with a toe injury, but I don't think that's serious. So expect Pacome Dardier to start getting some burn, hopefully. Kevin McCullough, unfortunately, had a setback. A lot of people have been asking about his whereabouts. He had a great first game back. Second game back, he chased a loose ball out of bounds, pulled up lame, and has a calf injury. So a non-contact injury, which is a little concerning because those can be something. Anytime it's a non-contact injury and a soft tissue, no timetable. He's just out with a calf. So I'm going to say right here, right now, that's a wash for Kevin McCullough's chances in seeing any meaningful Knicks minutes this season. I don't think that's a hot take. Just rest up, get his health right, and get ready for next season is my advice for TJ for Kevin McCullough. But hopefully he can get a few more Westchester games in. But yeah, I do think TJ Warren is that guy. Let's get to a few more comments before we wrap this thing up. Susan says the Knicks turn on the heat during the second half of the season. Mitchell Robinson will be coming off the bench for Cat. Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, we're waiting for the Knicks to return. Anticipation. Michael Drake says Deuce getting ready to be a daddy. Yeah, shout out. How could I forget? Congrats to Deuce McBride. Fatherhood as well, man. I'm getting older. But yeah, most of our New York Knicks having a kid now. So the family is growing. Shout out to Deuce and his partner on the impending birth of their child, their first child as well. So that's going to be interesting, fam. I think obviously the birth will happen after the playoffs. Yeah, definitely after the playoffs. So, but his attention will be, definitely taken up a lot of, time with his partner, obviously. But yeah, that tough West Coast trip is something to look out for. The rest of February is going to be tough as well. But I do think that it's all but a lock that the New York Knicks will get the third or second seed. Dirty Dancer says, I am him. Susan says, I see you. Dirty Dancer says, I want to be able to give Kevin McCullough a rookie minimum next year anyways to stay under the second apron. Yeah, that is some clever cat maneuvering as well. Keep him on the two-way all season, and then his rookie contract doesn't start yet as well. Ariel Huckporty. Let's say a few words on him because until Mitchell Robinson returns, this is Huckporty's chance. Because I was thinking, once Mitch gets back, barring any injury to Precious, Ariel Huckporty is probably going to go back to DNPs. And so this is his chance. He might have 5 more games, 10 more games, might be 15. But until Mitch gets back, Ariel Huckporty is in the rotation right now. And I think he would stay in the rotation even if OG returned. I do think to get a look at Cat next to another big, I do think Tibbs does seem to want to, give Huckporty those 3 to 5 minutes, right? And get Precious back to the 4 spot. Daral says we need the next 2 Boston games, second seed run. I would love to just, psychologically, Daras, I mentioned hopefully we can get a win against Cleveland, a final win against Cleveland, game of the season, and then, 1 win against Boston. I think that'll do a lot psychologically for this matchup. But I'm going to be honest, second seed or third seed, it really don't matter because Boston's going to get the other one and we're going to face them in the second round. If we look at this, Cleveland have a 5.5 game advantage on Boston. So I doubt that they'll get the first seed. Whether the Knicks supplant Boston or not, it's not really going to be that much of an advantage outside of the first round. You could look at it like, we might avoid Detroit. If Detroit worries you, if we do get the second seed, we'll avoid Detroit. But you might end up playing Magic. You might end up playing Miami, Orlando, Philly, and so I take my chances with the third seed. If it's not the one seed, second or third, the Detroit matchup's going to be tough. I think obviously they've been formidable against us this season. But yeah, I just think we need to, like you say, we need to find a way psychologically to prove that we can beat Boston and Cleveland in an individual matchup. Johnny says, can Tibbs handle a 10-man? Definitely not. I think as we get closer to the playoffs, I think late March, early April, he'll definitely start to shrink the rotation down to 9. But I'll take a victory lap if we do get 9-man in a playoff series. Obviously, with Mitch and Precious, I do think Shamet would probably be the guy to lose out, and I do think it would obviously be Campaign, Deuce McBride, Precious, and Mitch coming off the bench, and Shamet and Huck Porty would miss out on a playoff rotation. So yeah, great question. That would be my early playoff projection, rotation-wise. I think that'd blow Tibbs's mind trying to handle 10-man in a playoff series. Yeah, Johnny, when Mitch returns, the Huck party could be over. We'll see. He's got, like I said, the next 5 to 10 games is key for Ariel Huck Porty. But if Precious misses time, if Mitch is in foul trouble or misses time, Cat's in foul trouble, I think it's key for Huck Porty to show that he can hang, and he can win Tibbs's trust. And these remaining games are going to be key. OG's I don't think is going to be well, actually OG could be back on Thursday. But even if he is, until Mitch gets back, I think Huck Porty will have a chance. Great point here, Buzzer. Getting the second seed will give us home court against them and a big morale booster. That's understated as well. Yeah, I can't disagree. That is big. I'm kind of looking at more second round matchups and how that is impactful for us, but I can't disagree. Getting the second seed would give us home court against them as well. So that would be key. That would be definitely key. So yeah, by all means, go all out. I just do think that if we look at the standings right now, as I said before, the fact that the Knicks need 19 more wins to get to 55, Boston only needs 16 to get to 55. So if you do the math, it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult, right? If we have to win 19 to get to 55 and Boston only have to win 16, we have to supplant them somehow. So what are we relying on them to win 15 and we have to win 19? They have to win 15 and we have to win 24. That is going to be tough. That's going to be tough to supplant. I just think we've got to take each matchup as it comes. Don't duck, no smoke, like Omar said in the chat earlier. It really is key to just start to get our rhythm going. Get our assist game going, 30 plus assists this season, and get guys in rhythm. We're basically unstoppable. Dirty says Boston is for sure going to be this generation's Bulls, where we have to get over that hump, hopefully works out better than the 90s. I think, yeah, for another year or two, I think max, I do think changes are coming in Boston, and I do think changes are going to come for us. But right now, I think, yeah, this could be the final year of dominance for Boston. Cleveland could be hanging around for a long time. We could still make another upgrade. I think they got new ownership financially. They might have to let Porzingis, Drew Holiday go, Derek White. Um, and while we're on this note of Boston, I want to talk about an underrated key to Boston, guys, that not a lot of people talk about. But Derek White, I feel like, is the guy that you have to focus on if you're the New York Knicks. I'll tell you why. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they're hard to stop, and that's not a hot take. We saw Tatum get hot. They love the volume threes. He's 6'9". It's a tough matchup. He can shoot over anybody almost. He's going to get the threes up, and so they're going to live and die by those threes. And Tatum is a guy that is going to get his. And Jaylen Brown is a guy that's in and out. He has some trouble creation off the dribble. But I can live with those two guys putting up 30. What makes Boston so dangerous is when you focus on those guys so much, it's the Derek Whites that end up killing you. It's the Holidays and the Porzingises that end up killing you, or the Luke Cornets, or the Al Horfords. So I think that the Knicks, their engine, I think if you can take a Derek White out of the game, because he does a lot of the facilitation, he's the connector between the possessions that Tatum and Brown, once they've done their thing, it's usually Derek White gets the kick out, and he gets the open three or the back-breaking three. So I think the Knicks just need to play the numbers. Don't sweat Tatum and Brown getting theirs. If those two get 30 each, that's 60 points. That's not enough to beat the Knicks. What kills the Knicks generally is the other guys getting loose. Derek White having 21, Peyton Pritchard getting 18. So I think, you obviously got the OG matchup. I think OG should take Tatum. I do think Josh Hart can guard Jaylen Brown, right? Jaylen Brown does like to drive a lot. If he wants to shoot, then make him shoot. But I think Josh Hart can take that lineup, that matchup. But I do think Mikal Bridges could be a guy that you look at and just say, hey, we're going to shut down Derek White, right? We take our chances with OG Anunoby on Tatum. Derek White, take him out of the ball game completely, try to blanket him. And then you see what happens. You see if Tatum is hitting his shots, you see what Brown does, but then you're relying on Al Horford and the other guys in their bench. So yeah, I don't think people focus enough on Derek White. He just seems to be that Nick killer for us. And look, you take your chances, I do think that, Tatum's going to get his no matter what you do. Johnny says KP's due for another injury sooner or later. We'll see. I personally don't wish injuries on anyone, but yeah, if we do the numbers, he's definitely due. Dara says that's why we have to beat them Boston twice. Yep, to get the tiebreaker, like you said. Dirty Dancer says Boston has all engines firing when they play us. Don't do that against teams that ain't worried about. Yep. Yeah, it's psychological. They do definitely raise their level of play against the New York Knicks, but I do think our game plan has to be smarter. We don't pick our battles. I think that's why I think it's Derek White. You got to be smart. You have to pick your battles against Boston. You're not shutting down everybody. And the percentages of shutting down Tatum are a lot tougher than shutting down Derek White and the other guys as well. So like I said, you take your chances. If Tatum gives you 30 and Brown gives you 30 or 25, that's only 55 to 60 points. You've got to shut down the role players in that one. So hey, with that said, I'm excited. It's been a great stream. We should be back Wednesday night, the night before our return. EJ, co-host of the show. Haven't seen EJ in a minute. EJ's been on his grind, man. He's got so much going on. He's doing his doctorate. EJ is doing big things in life, but EJ is hopefully going to come through Wednesday night, fam. After 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And we'll zero in on the Chicago-Cleveland games. Hopefully we'll hear some news out of practice, and we'll get things popping for the second part of the season. As the Knicks eye 55 wins, trumping the 13-14 season, and moving forward now, all eyes lie ahead for our double all-star duo, Cat, Jalen Brunson, and a potential playoff matchup with the 6th seed. It's been a great stream. You guys have been buzzing. Appreciate you all. Like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've got some guests coming through the building as well. Right, things have been a little busy, but bless up to everyone. Knicks Nation, it's going to be a special end to the season, and let's go New York Knicks go. Peace, everyone.